Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I think most of us are in, so we'll at least begin with the introduction so that we can get going with cooking. That's what we're here for. I'll let Madhumita and Jagdish take over. They are the co-founders of Indus Valley. They'll give us a little bit introduction about the brand and what they do and stand for, and then we can proceed.
Hi everyone, good evening. Welcome. Madhumita, I'm one of the co-founders of the Indus Valley, and I lead product development. So this is really an exciting journey for me. Indus Valley is a healthy cookware brand, and we really believe in our process of building products with honesty and great rigor to our material and process. Our goal is to ensure all of our products have goodness and improved taste of products. With that, I'll hand it over to Jagdish to welcome all of our guests to this session. Over to you, Jagdish.
Hey, thanks, Madhumita. Hey, hi, everyone. Good evening. I am Jagdish Kumar. I'm one of the founders of the Indus Valley. As you know, we are a direct-to-consumer brand. We're super excited to have all of you as part of the Cook Along show. So just to give you a brief about who we are at the Indus Valley, we are a company and a brand who are on a mission to make Indian kitchens healthy, one kitchen at a time. So we started the company in 2016. And we have been winning hearts of lakhs of Indian people by promoting natural and healthy kitchenware and products that are completely health focused and safe for cooking. And with this new latest range of tri-ply stainless steel cookware, we have taken a step forward. Tri-ply stainless steel cookware is the best when it comes to cooking healthy dishes effortlessly. Make 0% compromise on your health and convenience. It is the finest quality stainless steel cookware range coming from our brand, the most trusted company in regards to health-focused kitchenware. The session will be hosted by Chef Amninder Sandhu. And to give a brief about the chef, she is the founder of Cooking Hats Hospitality that recently launched brands like Ammu and Barfi & Sons. A national award winner, Amninder was labeled as the girl with gold in her fingers by none other than the legend chef Marco Pierre White. Being an avid user of the Indus Valley cookware, I feel immensely happy and excited for having her on this Cook Along show.
Thanks, Jagdish, for the introduction. Chef, I think we can have you on board and take.
We can start cooking.
I think I did hear from everyone that everyone's prepped, and I'm excited for this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get started.
Yes, everyone. I think I've put everyone on mute, so we can keep chatting on the chat box.
Okay. Okay. Maybe. So I'm just hoping that everyone's done the prep. Like we'd sent them a little note to fry the onions and to cook the rice. And the jackfruit has already been prepped. I hope they've done the prep. Can you ask them once if they've done the prep?
Yep, I think.
Okay,
I see a lot of yeses.
Okay, perfect. So then we can get started. So if you've already fried your onions, I'm just going to do a shortcut. I already have my fried onions here. Going to add, once your onions are fried, add your ginger garlic paste to it. Once it starts spotting the pan, you can cut the heat out and add your dry masalas. Red chili, coriander powder, and your nutmeg. I'm going to add the yogurt right now because my onions are a little bit over. now we'll add the star ingredient, the jackfruit. I'm sure all of you have got this, which is already prepped. If you were using fresh jackfruit, this is what you would boil it with just some salt and haldi, and this is what it would look like. And I would recommend using fresh jackfruit because it's better bite. It tastes a lot better than something that comes out of a packet. But because of the ease of convenience of sending the ingredients to you, this is what was used. So I'm going to put that in. And mix it well. I think there's one step which is missing in the recipe, the slit green chilies. I mean, get inventive, add it whenever you feel like. It also works well as a garnish. I'm adding it at this point. Salt. Now the thing with salt is everyone has their own different style. I usually add salt when I'm frying the onions, but you can also add it at a later stage. It helps in making the frying process a little bit faster.
Chef, did you add a little water?
Sorry?
Do we have to add a little water to this or just the paste?
No, you don't have to add any water.
Okay.
I mean, if you're trying cooking for the first time today, then I would recommend adding a little water after you've added the ginger garlic paste because the dry masalas tend to burn really quickly. The other trick is to also add water to the dry masalas, make a paste and add that to your onion mixtures. We cut the heat again and just on a slow simmer, allow this to cook. If you were using fresh jackfruit, I would say cook it for 10-15 minutes. But this is already very, very soft. So I think just 5 minutes will be good enough. While this is cooking, take the dough and elongate it like a log so that we can use this to seal the stock pot. The thing with this Indus Valley stock pot is that it's beautifully heavy bottom, it's 3-ply, so nothing really sticks. It allows for slow cooking and it's a beautiful piece of utensil.
Chef, we have a question about the dough. Does it need to be stiff or soft?
It has to be a firm dough so that you're able to shape it, but not so soft that it keeps sticking to your hands. And you can use a little dry flour to shape it. This is what it'll look like once it's shaped.
Madhumita, I think this question would be probably for you. Should we only use steel spoon? Can we use steel spoons while cooking, or only wooden is or a spatula is suggested to avoid any scratches? Like how does that work with our product?
Sure. So if you want to maintain the look of your vessel, I'll always recommend using a wooden ladle. Also, it keeps your hand safe from the heat. Sometimes we forget to take the ladle away from the pot, especially when we are busy. But otherwise, you can use a steel ladle if that's the only one you have it.
I would say
Oh,
treat
okay.
your utensil like your baby and don't
Yes.
use any steel spatulas.
Okay, this is another one. I know we're making a biryani, but do we need to use the dough to lock it in, or just the lid works fine?
No, the lid doesn't really work very well because you want to seal in all the juices. You don't want anything escaping. The other thing you can use is aluminum foil. Foil works. But this is a sure shot. I mean, you are 100% sure that nothing is escaping. So this is what it should look like. What the masala should look like just before you add the rice. At this point, I'll add the mint. I'll cut the heat out completely. And I'm going to add the rice on top. So your rice. So the thing with cooking rice is, first of all, the salt that you add to the water has to be in a large quantity. When you taste the water, it should taste like seawater, very salty. Because if you add less salt in the water when you're cooking rice for biryani, then your rice will not be seasoned enough, and then the biryani will taste bland. And you should cook the rice to about 80% done. But it should have a bite to it so that it doesn't become like a khichdi and it's not super soft. So I'm going to layer.
Shraddha, I'm guessing that answers your question to make sure how not to overcook your rice.
I would say keep checking. And the thing with cooking is taste along the way and keep checking as much as you can. And then after a while, it becomes very intuitive, you know. I mean, intuitive cooking is a thing now. There are people who take classes on that.
Got it. There's one thing. You mentioned that the food won't stick to the bottom. Does that mean it won't burn, or like what how do you define
If
a
you don't
food
control
not-
the heat, it will definitely burn because the utensil is designed to transfer heat. But if you're stirring it well, it will not stick like your usual stainless steel utensils, which are not thick bottom. You know, this is 3-ply, so it won't stick like your usual stainless steel pots.
So it might dry out, but it won't stick.
This is the saffron soaked in milk. I'm going to pour some of this on top.
Oh, Madhumita, this question I think you could answer. Does the stock pot retain heat for a longer time other than other vessels once cooking is done, like perhaps a soapstone or a clay pot?
Since this is stainless steel, it doesn't retain heat for a long time, but what it does is it dissipates heat very well, especially when you're making things like biryani. What happens is you have a good depth in your vessel and it needs to spread in all directions in the bottom and on the sides evenly. So that's when all of your ingredients will be cooked to the same consistency. So especially when you're making biryani, the stock pot is very helpful. But if you talk about heat retention after being cooked, it's definitely better in a soapstone or a clay vessel. It retains heat for a longer time. Since it's metal, it will dissipate heat to the surroundings. But even cooking will be really good and your biryani will taste yummy.
Now I'm garnishing it with the extra fried onion. You can put a few mint leaves on top as well. And then let's put the dough on the lid.
Madhumita, there's another question for you. Can we steam cakes, idlis, dhoklas, and other such products in the stock pot?
Definitely. So you can use your idli maker that you have if it fits in. Typically it should because it's a standard size. And you can make your idlis and dokla in this as well.
And then we'll seal it. I've had a little mishap here. Okay.
Chef, does the dough needs to like seal fully properly from all ends, or if it's half and half, it works?
No,
the
no, it
steam?
has to seal from all ends. It should seal from all ends, and then you keep it on very slow simmer for like 10 to 15 minutes. You can even put a tawa under the stock pot and reduce the heat and leave it for 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, there's another question. What is the capacity of this stock pot? Like, if we were to make this biryani for a party, how many kgs would I be able to cook in this?
I think you can cook easily 4 kilos. The capacity of the
So-
stock pot is 4 liters.
So when
So
we
your
say 4
finished
kilos, do
product-
we mean
The finished dish will be 4.
4? So if we take half and half, so 2 kg is whatever protein or meat you use and 2 kgs of rice.
If you take 1 kg protein and 1 kg meat, then you will end up with 3 kilos biryani.
Oh, okay. This is something new which I learned today.
Because your rice will become a little over 2 kilos. This stock pot also has a little valve here for the steam to escape. I'm going to close that as well. And what's really cool is since it's got the transparent lid, you can see, when the dum is happening, you can see the steam rising up. And that allows you to be able to control the heat.
I hope everyone's reached the stage of giving dum to their biryanis by now.
If there are any questions, I think we can take it at this point.
Anyone, if I know we've been doing questions as we're making the dish, but anything else on the dish, on the product, the other range which the stainless steel range has, which could be made. Also, originally we were trying to make this biryani in a kadhai, but we went with a stock pot instead. So maybe chef, you could let us know how this same recipe could be replicated in a kadhai as well. Is there some changes we need to make to it, or?
No, we don't need to make any changes to the recipe if you're using a kadai, but the stock pot makes a lot more sense to do this because of its shape.
Oh, there's another question. How long do we have to cook this rice, like this dum that we're giving?
For about 10 to 15 minutes on very slow simmer. Where I have an industrial burner here right now because I'm in my kitchen. I'm cutting it out in between. So you'll have to cook it to a point like when you touch the lid, it should feel hot. When your lid becomes hot on top, you know that the steam has risen, it's reached the top, and it's all the way through your biryani. And 5 to 6 minutes of that is good enough. Once that happens, you can cut the heat out. And then you allow your biryani to sit for about 5 minutes before you open it.
And what other protein works with this recipe besides jackfruit?
Mutton works really well. Chicken works well. You can even do a fish biryani in this. I mean, get inventive. I did a biryani with chapan kaddu recently, which was really great. I did summer squash biryani. I did purple yam biryani. So all of those will work.
And one more, there is what other dishes can we make in this stock pot apart from biryani?
You can make the
Madhu
really
Mehta
anything that requires slow cooking can be done well in this stock pot. It's called a stock pot because stocks usually require slow cooking and prolonged cooking over a large duration of time. So this would work. I mean, you can use it for even for dals. You can use it for stews. You can make your nice stocks in it. You can cook anything in this. I mean, why can't you cook anything in this? Is what I would say. I mean, you can even make anda bhurji in this. Like, why not?
Got it. Madhumita, I think this question would be for you. What are the benefits of tri-ply over stainless steel? Like, how different is our product, and how do we stand out from the market?
Sure. So it's all about heat, right? When it comes to cooking, you want very even heat distribution, and you want it in a very gradual manner as well. So the existing stainless steel products typically come with a sandwich bottom. And the problem with the sandwich bottom is that, it's really hot in the base, whereas the walls aren't evenly hot. There's a difference in temperature. So what that means is that the food that's closer to the base will heat at a different temperature from those that are closer to the wall. So what that will mean is food gets stuck in the bottom, or it tends to overcook in the bottom. And also most of the sandwich bottoms give way in a couple of months, especially if you love cooking on induction tops, then it tends to wobble. So these kind of issues are definitely not there. And not all tri-ply are forged the same way, right? It's a lot to do with the shape, the choice of angles. So that's the level of detail that we go to. And convenience. If you are a real Puritan and if you want to go the earthen pot way, we have options for that as well. But when we're all really busy heading out to work, or trying to get a solution that's probably dishwasher safe and a little angle safe as well sometimes. So then definitely tri-ply is a daily use option that will be easy for a lot of people in the sense of cleaning and rough use as well. Definitely, there is a lot of flavor that you can bring with an earthen pot if you want to get those flavors into your food.
Got it. And is there a difference in taste when we make a biryani in the tri-ply stainless steel or an earthen pot or a brass or a copper deck? Maybe
Yes,
Chef can answer
definitely.
this, or...
Definitely. So when you make it out of matka or the earthen pot, you have that earthen flavor that gets added to your food. The advantage of the tri-ply is it allows slow cooking. And the shape of the pot is also so that we've made it that belly shape so that it doesn't allow very sticking. It's not a very right angle shape, which is typically used for making stock in Western countries. Our food is a little bit more gravy based. We have a lot of ingredients that tend to stick. So we went with a shape that will be easier for you to clean out also after cooking, because we all love the cleaning is something that we don't enjoy. So we put that a little bit of thought in there. Definitely, there's a difference in taste. As I mentioned here, it's about the convenience for you to use and ability for you to use it as a slow cooking method as well for a long period of time.
Okay, we can open the biryani now.
Wow, it smells through the screen, Chef.
So this steam that you see when you open it, and usually I like to cook biryani in the utensil that I would want to serve it in the same dish, so that you don't have to transfer it and there's no handling, because you have to treat it like a birthday cake. I mean, you can't manhandle your biryani. Like all of this I would do that I'm doing, mixing, is when I want to serve it. So you can see that
there are two more questions for you. Should the heat, what would be the heat for slow cooking, medium or simmered, especially the gases which we use at home?
It will not be the same throughout the recipe. You'll have to control it. Like when you're caramelizing your onions, you can do it at medium, but when your biryani is on dum, you'll have to keep it on slow simmer. When you're adding in your dry masalas, I would say slow simmer. when you're putting a ginger garlic paste would be slow simmer. Things that can stick quickly, burn quickly, slow simmer, and dum slow simmer. Otherwise, medium is good.
I think that answers. And there's this another, if you want to add potatoes to the biryani, do we fry them separately and then add, or is there a way to cook them with the jackfruit?
Yeah, frying potatoes and adding will be great. I mean, it'll taste really nice. I would recommend that. But if you want to avoid some calories, then even just boiled potatoes will work because they'll soak in the masala really well.
So then what would be the step to add these potatoes, with the jackfruit or afterwards?
So if you're
boiled?
frying the potatoes, I would add them when you're layering the biryani. Like once your jackfruit masala is done, that's that point where I put the mint leaves in. That's when I will also make a layer of the fried potatoes.
I think, Ramana, that answers your question as to how we can use potatoes here.
I think there are
There
more
are few
questions
more.
about can we add
Yes,
other vegetables like peas and carrots and I wouldn't recommend adding other vegetables when you're making a jackfruit biryani because you're trying to mimic mutton biryani in a vegetarian version. So I wouldn't say add peas to it.
Oh. And is there an alternative to curd? Can we skip it altogether in this recipe?
Yes, you
If
can. You can use tomato puree instead of curd.
Okay, thank you.
If you were to make this fully vegan, like a vegan recipe, then the ghee can be replaced with any other oil of your choice, cooking oil, and the curd can be replaced with tomato paste or tomato puree.
Yep. I think that's the last of the few questions we have. Anybody else wants to let us know how their biryani is tasting or smelling at home? Anything similar to what we're seeing, what Chef made here on screen for us? Maybe now would be the time if somebody would like to show their screen and let us know how their biryani has cooked up in the house. Still in the process for a few people. Okay.
Still in process.
Madhumita, do you want to add anything to our other products which we have in this range? I think now everybody knows how you can use the stock pot, but maybe if you want, you could throw some light on the pan, the kadhai, and the fourth product which we have.
Sure, sure. So this particular launch has 4 products. Other than the stock pot, we have a saucepan. The saucepan is my go-to because we are just a family of 2 and a puppy. So I boil everything. I even make my chai and everything in my sauce pot. It starts with chai and my puppy's, veggies and everything. All of my food and all of that goes into my sauce pot. It's very quick and it is easy too. And the kadai is a go-to for all of my sabji, for all of my daily use, which that I have. And definitely another is the fry pan. The fry pan goes very well for all of your sorting purposes and shallow fry. So these are the 4 that we have right now, and we'll be coming up with more sizes in this, so it suits different family sizes too.
That's and what would be the shelf life of our stock pot once we start using it?
Sure. Like the chef said, be kind to your utensils. It really lasts a long time because these are not, like folded or melted into place, or there are no joints anywhere. It's shape. If you take good care, it will last you for more than 3 years. Definitely ensure that, you're using a wooden ladle. I think that's a secret that most chefs will share with us. So these things and good care will help you keep it with you for a long time.
And what would be the wash care instruction for the stock pot?
Sure. So as I mentioned, these don't stick a lot, so it's easy. But in case, if you've had a little accident, soak it in water for a little bit of time and wash it out. Your regular dishwashing liquid is fine. It is dishwasher safe as well. And we are coming with a cleaner that will help you, quickly take out tough stains too. So we got you, don't worry.
Okay. And I think how do you know when to replace the stock pot?
Sure. So typically, the problem areas that you might face is if your handle is not doing great, or if you feel the balance is not good, or if the heat distribution is not as good as it used to be. Because at the end of the day, it's a layer of 3 metals, and every time you heat it and cool it, what will happen is that it does wear off over a period of years. Another trick to this is do not change the temperatures very rapidly. Let's say it's raw stuff, do not put it into a sink full of water and let it cool immediately. So as you maintain the temperature transitions to be a little bit more gradual, it gives more life to your utensils because it doesn't expand and contract immediately.
I'm hoping, Roshni, that answers the question which you had. There's another one from Shraddha. I'm guessing maybe chef can help here. Probably letting the pot heat up before adding oil results in a more non-stick surface than starting with oil in a cold pan. How true is this? Um, Chef, should I repeat the question for you if you're with us?
Yes, can you please repeat?
Yeah. Letting the pot heat up before adding oil results in a more non-stick surface than starting with oil in a cold pan. How true is this?
It's true. I mean, at least from my experience, I have noticed that it works. Heating the pan first and then adding fat to it makes it non-stick, more non-stick than starting with a cold pan.
And Madhumita, do we also sell spare lids in case our stock pot is very much in shape, but something happens to the lid? Do we sell them separately?
Not right now, but we will have them by the end of this month.
Okay, there's one more which is quite interesting. Can you put the stock pot in the fridge with leftover and then reheat when ready to eat the next day? We'll let it
just ensure
cool.
it's at room temperature, but the stock pot is a little big. I hope you have a nice roomy refrigerator.
Go for it. Go for it.
I think that answers Ramona's question also. Okay. There's one more. Does it trick of adding oil after heating vessel works in kadhai as well?
Yes, it does. I mean, from my experience, I've noticed that it works for your saute pan, for your kadai, for stock pot, all of that. All of this.
So for all of the amateur chefs out there like me, maybe chef doesn't have to think about all of this. One test that I do is so just pour a little few drops of water on your kadai or on your stock pot. The water should be hot enough to move, but not like too cool that it's runny. It should form like a bubble, but it shouldn't be sizzling hot. So that's a really good temperature. So this is for the amateurs here like me. Maybe chef doesn't have to wonder about these problems.
Okay, there's another one about the rough usage. I want to know about rough use. My cook can be very rough when handling our utensils and even increasing the fire flame to cook faster. will this damage the pot faster and have a lesser shelf life than?
Got it. So not really. So when we say transition in temperature, we are talking transitions like taking it off the stove and putting it in a bucket of ice water. That's not something that we're going to do, right? That's the level of testing that we typically do before anything goes to launch. So just being cognizant of the fact of not putting a warm vessel into your refrigerator. If we avoid these kind of extreme changes, we are fine. But when it comes to the gas stove, go all crazy with it. I'm sure we all try to save a little bit of time trying to cook in high flame at times. The food that comes out is fabulously tasty.
April says that her cook thanks you for this answer. They can actually go all out being a little rough with this particular utensil.
Sure.
Oh, sounds good. Chef, are we going ahead with any sort of plating for the biryani, or we're going serve it directly from the vessel we cooked in?
I mean, you
Or
can.
any suggestions?
I usually cook my biryani in like a Dutch oven and serve it straight in that. And even this stock pot, I would serve it in this. But if you want, you can transfer it to a nicer looking serving bowl. I've in fact already. Yes.
Now, there's another question. What is the best way to cook rice, in a stock pot or a pressure cooker or a rice cooker?
If you're cooking rice for a biryani where it's not absorption method, it's the drainage method where the amount of water is a lot more than your rice, then a stock pot would make sense, or a handi would make sense. But if you're cooking rice by drainage method, then did someone say kadai?
No, stock pot or pressure cooker or rice cooker.
I mean, rice cooker is good for. I like using rice cooker when I am cooking jasmine rice. I feel it works really well for that. It depends on what kind of rice you're cooking. Some, like for biryani where it's drainage method, a stock pot would make sense, or a handi would make sense.
And what would you suggest as accompaniment to this biryani? A raita, mirchi salad, just by itself? Anything else that you prefer having it with?
My most favorite is a burani raita, which is a garlic flavored raita. So what you do is you add a little garlic juice to dahi and you whisk it up till it's nice and smooth. And then you do a tadka of mustard seeds and add a little red chili and pour that on top of the raita.
That sounds yum. Chef, you were saying something. I'm sorry, I had to cut you off with a question. Something to do with the garnishing and the plating, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, you can transfer it to a serving bowl and then garnish it with more fried onion and mint on top, or serve it straight out of the pot. I ideally, like I said, I like to treat it like a birthday cake and not move it around too much, because if you handle biryani too much, then it really, I mean, rice starts breaking and then it's not the same.
Yep. Thank you for that. Is there anybody who might have their biryani ready and would want to share a couple of photos / a video of it? No pressure though. Although we know We can't beat what chef makes it here. Or any questions which anyone would have. We have some time on our hand. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Okay, there's one last question. If we were to cook this same recipe in another utensil, would the cook time be longer?
That's hard to say actually, because I don't know which other utensil and what kind, because it totally depends. The cooking time depends on the material. I mean, what is that utensil made out of, at what temperature you're cooking it, and what kind of heat retention. So it'll be different for different utensils.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the end of the Q&A and the cook along section which we had. Thank you, chef, so much for taking out the time and showing us this beautiful recipe. Thank you, Madhumita and Jagdish, for a very informative session on how you should know more about what you cook in and how it can be different, and why a tri-ply stainless steel is your best option, especially the fast-paced life which we live in. Hoping if everybody can share their final product later on, and maybe we can send it across to chef. This is what turned out in everyone's homes.
I would love to
I
see
think,
some. I would love to see some pictures of the final dish, for sure.
yes.
And if you have any more questions, you can send me a message on Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you so much for joining in, for having.
Thank you, chef.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.